This past week, there's been a lot of accusations made that I find very ironic more than anything. Like Anthropic, an AI company, recently tweeted about how DeepSeek and a few others have been stealing data from an AI, accusing others of stealing. Right? The very thing they use to train their own data, stolen stuff. Then Google did the same thing. Google was like, yeah, man, these Chinese AR, they're trying to run prompts inside of Gemini designed to steal our information, designed to steal our logic and our training data. We also learned something similar from OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever, right? So, to train an AI, if you don't know, you would have to use publicly available stuff on the internet. This is why people don't like AI art, because it's literally trained itself off of legitimate artists. In videos where I spoke about AI, I've expressed a mixed reaction about how I feel about using it, right? I don't think using AI is bad. I think it's very convenient. AI, it saves a lot of time, research, automation, and so forth. But last week, I had a realization. Last week, for the first time in my life, look, I've been doing full stack for over a decade, nearly 2 decades. Software development, site development, detailed applications and platforms, right? And I always did it from the mud. I would be coding like you know what I'm saying? My fingers hurt all the time. I coded everything from hand. I studied documentation, and last week was the first time I ever used vibe coding. I tried it. Everyone was hyping up vibe coding. All right, you know what I'm saying? Let's let this AI code something for me. Let me just give it a prompt and tell it what to do. Let it code my project for me. So, I spent a day or two doing this, right? And after reviewing the code and messing around with prompts and so forth, I have the opinion that a lot of y'all are cooked. Seriously. All y'all coders, developers, whatever, y'all are done for, because it didn't do a terrible job. It didn't do a bad job. It did okay. But when I reviewed the code as someone who actually has been building things for years, they made so much mistakes or choices that are like, I feel like they don't think very deeply technical about stuff. They don't understand deep architectural systems that, like, their choices and designs, it's just like, they could have done so much better. So, you know what I would do, right? I would tell the AI, hey, listen, you're wrong here. This doesn't make sense. This could be better. Like, also, I tested this on Claude's models, Anthropic, Gemini, Google, OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever. I tried all these different models. They all have the same issue. What I mean by you guys are cooked, though, if you're working as a developer or some sort of IT technician or engineer of any sort, and you don't work around high-level logic and system intentions, if you don't work like that, AI does a decently good job at doing that for you and easily replaces you. But when it comes to more deeply logical architecture, AI is very questionable. So during my experiment of trying vibe coding for the first time and letting AI code for me, whatever, I noticed it made so many security flaws where I could tell it doesn't really understand what it's doing. But inside, it understands the code it stole and studied, which goes back to the main topic here. Like, cool, these AI models, y'all know how to code, but y'all don't really know what you're doing. I always say, it was a time, like, one of my science teachers, he was like, I don't want you to understand what, I think it was a chemistry class. He's like, I don't want you to memorize chemistry. I want you to understand chemistry. I feel like AI, they don't understand. They just memorize. And what I'm doing during this vibe coding thing, I'm spending time prompting this AI to be like, yo, you didn't consider XYZ. Hey, I reviewed the code. There's a flaw here. Look at this. I don't think this makes any sense. That's my favorite line, by the way, when I was working with it. I literally would tell the models, this doesn't make any sense. And then I'll explain why. And in summary, I believe the only people who are going to survive AI in the next, like, some of y'all already cooked, right? But in the next 5 years or more, art, coding, anything, this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but I'm just being blunt. I love technology. I try to keep up with new developments, but truth be told, the only person who's going to survive this, only people who are not going to get filtered out, are those who deeply understand the type of work that they do. I'm being critical of this vibe coding thing, but let's say something positive. I actually enjoyed it. I actually like vibe coding. That was fun. Last week, that was fun. You know what I'm saying? I told it to do XYZ and it did it. Okay? It saved me some time. But I was thinking, yo, I'm liking this. This is cool and all. When I'm code reviewing, it's like wrong, like 50% of the time, but they're coding and making something that works, right? But I wonder how people who don't understand programming, I wonder what their prompts are like. You know? I wonder if they notice security vulnerabilities because a lot of vibe coders, as far as I could tell, because sometimes you could tell a website or whatever is vibe code or something, some of these people don't notice things because they don't understand like actual like infrastructure. They don't understand the architecture. They don't understand cybersecurity like that. So they'll tell it to do something and they'll make a website like, yo, they'll make a website for you or an app that works. But I could tell it doesn't know really what it's doing, you know? So, and like I said, the vibe coders who don't actually know how to code, they probably missed a bunch of vulnerabilities. They probably missed a bunch of things that could be optimized. And here's why I think it's going to change. I think vibe coding will continue to take over the industry. I think eventually there's going to be a point where the AI models are going to get so good that, you know what, a lot of programmers will not be programmers like they used to be. Programmers will instead shift their workload to AI, but they're going to do what I was doing. Since you know what you're actually doing and reading, but you're just tasking the actual typing work to somebody else. Well, it's not somebody, to an AI, right? And then you do a code review after. I think people who don't know how to code or do those code reviews, I think you're going to be replaced at whatever job or whatever, just like that. Again, it probably already happened to a lot of people. A lot of junior developers, you just probably got cut off because why do this? The senior developers, they're just going to tell AI to do all this work that is boring and redundant, and then they're just going to review the code and tell the AI, hey, just fix this. Hey, security vulnerability. Hey, this, that. And then there you go. Why do we need to hire you? Why do you need to be on a salary? Like, AI just did the work for us. We just had a senior engineer just who knows the deepest understanding of this architecture. They just fixed it just by doing that. And I feel the same for artists. I think a lot of artists, they're going to move away from actually doing the work. Y'all just going to put down the paintbrush. Y'all going to put down the tablet. Y'all just going to, hey, what's the point anymore? Instead, y'all just going to constantly prompt adjustments in your art till it's perfect. Just like what I mentioned with this coding thing. Y'all just going to do that. You're going to tell it, oh, make an image of this character that has blonde hair and blue eyes and, they're holding a sword and, they got a fairy around them or whatever. Okay, y'all, it will generate a picture. Then you'll be like, you put a new prompt. Okay, well, actually make his hair black. Change his sword to a quarterstaff. And then they can adjustment. And then it's like, all right, this is perfect. The process is just gone now. I think considering a lot of these AI companies are upset and making accusations like this, I don't really think it's actually, I believe the accusations. I'm being for real with you. I think they're not understanding that this AI game has lost its moral compass. Or rather, why am I saying that? It never had one. There is nothing truly ethical of the creation of AI that we have today. Am I saying rebel, never use AI? No. You may have the opinion to do that, even though it's literally integrated into everything at this point. Even your autocorrect on your phone is AI. If you're so mad about AI, hey, just move into a cabin in the middle of the woods at this point. You know what I'm saying? Your whole homepage on YouTube and probably how you found this video is through AI. What do you think? What do you think works the algorithm? That's AI. Like, if you're subscribed to this channel, the AI prioritized me in its algorithm. You got Twitter? You be using Instagram? Guess how your explore page is figured out. Guess how these recommendations are figured out. This is all, you can't escape the matrix. You just can't. And I don't see this getting any less intrusive. I think every single day, all these AI models are stealing stuff from us on platforms or features that we don't even think or know about. And then suddenly some AI company is going to release a new feature based on the data it's been secretly using, right? So, man, I saw this new thing. Well, I don't know if it's new. Well, yeah, it is new. Like, Google recently released like this way where Gemini can now generate music, right? You could tell Gemini, make a song that sounds like, has this reggaeton thing going on and it says lyrics about this. It'll generate the song. The song sounds pretty good, to be honest. It's like, how did they get that data? They probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were secretly doing this, like listening to songs. They're probably taking data. I don't even want to make accusations, but in terms of like what platforms they were taking music from, but they were probably taking a lot of songs from certain places without you guys even knowing it. You guys were releasing music on different platforms. They, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And this how they made it stronger. So when some AI company or multiple are going to release a new feature based on the data that they've been secretly obtaining, right? When all these companies beef over, my AI context was stolen to make another AI stronger. You stole to begin with, and you're still stealing right now. You're just mad that people are getting crazy competitive out here. You know what I'm saying? People, AI training is a game of aggressive scraping of information to reach the top. These Chinese companies, Chinese labs that they're talking about, they don't give a, like they just, hey, we just gonna get all the information we need. We don't care at this point, because you know what this is? This is what it is. I think the real issue is, I think a lot of companies are not only upset about the competitiveness and how people will do certain things, but they're upset that this scraping data to catch up to them isn't protected by the U.S. national security. I think they're mad that it's from China. You think some of these U.S. based AI companies, you think they're not doing that to each other already? They're just mad that China's doing it, and I think people are just scared of China getting over on us. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Love you all. I'm out.